I think every Yankees fan should give a big round of applause to pitching coach Matt Blake. Now, Matt Blake has helped fully get the potential of a lot of Yankees pitchers and is one of the reasons why the Yankees have been so good to start the 2022 season. Their pitching has been fantastic, and I think that is in large part due to Matt Blake helping utilize every single pitcher and getting the maximum potential out of them. Now, Matt Blake is the Yankees pitching coach. He's had this role since the 2020 shortened COVID season. Now, a lot of people weren't quite talking about him back then, just due to the 2020 COVID season. It was short, a lot of small sample size stuff was happening, and the Yankees pitching was alright. But over the last 2 seasons, we've truly seen how great Matt Blake is, and we've seen a lot of pitchers be really good who were not in the past. And I think a lot of the reason why is because of Matt Blake. Now, the Yankees pitching has been phenomenal in the last 2 years. Last year in 2021, they had the 6th lowest team ERA. This season, they have a sub-3 team ERA, which is just ridiculous when you really think about it. And there are certain names that kind of pop out in my head who have done really well since joining the Yankees. Nestor Cortez Jr. Last year, he put up a sub-3 ERA, putting a 2.9 ERA. This year, he has a 1.31 ERA so far. In the past, he was the guy who had been putting up 5 ERAs, 7 ERA. He was not good, but he's been amazing, and I think a large reason why is because of Matt Blake, helping him use all of his pitches, because Cortez has a lot of pitches that he can use, and he's been fully utilizing them, getting maximum value out of each and every one. I think you got to give Matt Blake some credit for Nestor Cortez Jr. doing so well. Another big one, Clay Holmes. Now, Yankees traded for Holmes last year at the deadline, and it was a kind of a controversial move. They gave up Hoyjun Park, who was doing phenomenal in AAA, and a lot of fans were mad when the Yankees got Holmes, because he had an ERA around 5 before heading to the Yankees. Well, a lot of that anger changed when Holmes pitched the next 28 innings and only had an ERA of 1.61. And he's continued this. So far this season, in 12 innings pitched, he has a .75 ERA. Amazing. And he talked about how Matt Blake helped him just realize what he needed to do. Throw a lot of strikes. Throw that sinker in the zone. Not try to get batters to chase. Just be confident in his pitch, throwing it in the zone. And when Clay Holmes is throwing that sinker, guys can't hit it. Another guy who's done really well, Wendy Peralta. He was another one who we traded for last season in 2021. And before he was traded to the Yankees with the Giants, he had an ERA above 5. Then with the Yankees, for the rest of the season, in 42 innings, he put up a 2.95 ERA. And so far to start this year, he has a sub-3 ERA. Gotta give Matt Blake some credit there. He helped him ditch a lot of his worst pitches and rely a lot more on that changeup, which has been amazing for Peralta, especially against left-handed batters. And then one of my kind of favorite ones here is when the Yankees traded for Joely Rodriguez, who was horrible with the Rangers. Then he was amazing with the Yankees, who put up, again, a sub-3 ERA. And then they traded Joely Rodriguez to the Mets and got Miguel Castro, who has put up a 2 ERA so far with the Yankees and has lights-out stuff. Another player who's done really well, I know there's a lot, just proves how good Matt Blake is Lucas Lickey. Lickey joined the Yankees last year in 2021. After being invited to spring training, he did well enough and worked himself a roster spot. That was the first time Lickey had pitched in the majors since 2015. A 6-year gap since last pitching in the majors. A lot of people didn't expect him to do too good. Hot spring training, let's see how well he does. Sub-3 ERA, 2.74 ERA, and 72 innings pitched. Amazing. Just phenomenal. He's throwing a nice slider and just fully utilizing his pitches, getting batters to chase. It's been amazing. So far this season, he hasn't been too good. He's had a 4.7 ERA. But I feel like Lickey can turn it around. He has some good stuff. And this kind of goes along with what I want to talk about. The Yankees have done really well with their coaching hires. This all happened before the 2022 season, where Cashman fired a lot of coaches and got a lot of new guys in. One of these guys was Sam Brine, who's now the Yankees' director of pitching. He came from a very analytical place called Driveline Baseball, who really do focus in stuff like increasing velocity, fully utilizing spin, a lot of the more analytical stuff. And he's been amazing. Gotta give him some credit too. He's the director of pitching, so he kind of works with the minors too, along with the majors, while Matt Blake is, the Yankees pitching coach. So a slight difference there. But we gotta give Cashman some credit. A lot of hires before the 2020 season, and COVID happened, so we couldn't quite see the results. But the Yankees tore it up in the minors last year, and they've been doing really good this year. If you remember, they fired their hitting coach going into this season and hired Dylan Lawson, who was working with the Yankees in the minors and was one of those pre-COVID hires. Yankees have done a lot better scouting, a lot better when it comes to coaches, and it's helped show us that they're really able to get all the potential out of players now. So, well done to Matt Blake, and let's give Cashman some credit here. He's made some amazing hires, and they're paying off so far. So the Yankees are doing really, really well.